I've been forgetting to hit record. So I need to remember to do that. I've been forgetting to hit record. All right. There we go. Looks like we are live. And before I forget, let me go ahead and hit record. Record. All right, everyone. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at in the world. Looks like we got a little bit of a small crowd here. However, it is Monday. So I guess people are just kind of crawling out of bed. We had a little bit of a time change. We leaped forward and lost an hour. I don't know where the damn hour went, but sure would be nice to have that back. For myself personally, I like this new time zone that we're in. I prefer that we keep it this way. Yeah, we won't go down the rabbit hole of why that even exists or any of that. But anyway, welcome to our Monday Mastermind. This is held by thelosttransition.com. If you'd like to join us live, you're out there on YouTube land and you're seeing us live, you can join us by going to live.thelosttransition.com. So, what is this meeting about? What are we doing here? Well, it's a Monday mastermind. We do every Monday. We've been doing this for over 4 years now, and where we collectively come together with network marketers and entrepreneurs every Monday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. And first thing that we do is we share and celebrate in the successes that are happening with the people that are attending, those that are close to the fire. I like to do this because, first off, I like to celebrate other people's success. And secondly, I like to live vicariously through other people, especially my close friends. You can't do everything and be everywhere all at once, but you can kind of experience many things through many people, right? So we typically start off every Monday morning as kind of a gesture to give some ideas on advancing our education first off, and then maybe forgetting about some of the things that happened last week if they were negative, exemplifying the glorify the good things that happened, or maybe something that you might be looking forward to this week. For me, I've got a few wins that I'm gonna share with you guys before we get started, but we do have some slides, and this is week 10. We're already 10 weeks into the new year 2026, so I don't know if you're paying attention. Um, but the year is already flying by. I don't know if you sat down and wrote down any goals or anything like that at the beginning of the year, but if you didn't, maybe you should start thinking about that. But what we're going to talk about today and why I think that it's a significant series for what we're doing, for those of you that might be new or don't know, we've got 52 weeks laid out. This particular week is week 10, where we talk about reverse engineering your goals. So, one of the things that I've touted many, many years, decades in fact, is the fact that most people don't know actually how to hit their goals, right? So, we'll call it for what it is, call it the blind leading the blind. Many times we'll have a specific goal, and without any kind of mentoring or tutelage or education, we tend to try to get to a specific goal. Many times we fail. We're going to talk about that today and why, again, I think that today is going to be uh, a significant episode in the series that we're doing. Because once you understand how to break those goals down or make them smaller goals, then it's easier to attain those bigger goals. That makes sense. So that's where we're at for week 10. Let's start off with some good news, man. Anybody got some wins that they want to share before we dive into the slides, and then we'll open it up for mastermind, any questions, feedback, and stuff like that. Got something you want to share, Virgil, to help get us started?
Yeah, I can start. I would say two major wins in continuation to what I'm pursuing here and into the stated goals for this year, making manifest these uh, teaching and apply products that I am actually moving along. So I was working on the first version on the of the app, and during the week, one of the goals was to be able to organize real-time shoot of products. So creating product, shooting them, uh, putting them into the context of a photo shoot, which I organized. So getting the all the moving parts together, the photograph, the tailor, the a model together for that shoot. So that was something that I was able to execute during the week.
Nice.
And actually, in the process of updating the photos directly onto my computer and seeing the impact of it on the app, which is one of the phases of testing. And so far, it's going great. And second major win during this weekend, in continuation to this podcast conversation that I'm currently working on with these associates. We had a second episode this time featuring a prominent artist in this space, uh, prominent figure, and it went very well. Uh, as far as the connection and the relationship building, it was a total success in terms of executing it as well. It was a learning course with me, and the feedback I had was great. And it's only the beginning of more to come. It also allowed me to um, really start immersing myself into this production environment because all the people on set were people that were from the actual industry of television and such. So it was a phenomenal weekend, phenomenal week. Major wins, staying consistent through it all. Hasn't been easy. There was a lot of personal challenges. But again, that helps that desire to achieve keeps my resolve and my focus. So yeah, that was my win for the past weeks.
That's awesome, brother. I'm mostly excited to see, and I mentioned this to you before. You've been busy, I've been busy, so we need to connect here.
Yeah,
I'm more excited to see the app side of things because, as you know, what I'm building, I need to eventually build an app. So
yeah,
to see you cut through what you're doing and get to the app portion of it is exciting for me. I know it's exciting for you, but it's exciting for me as well. I'm gonna have to pick your brain,
come
obviously.
on, I'm ready for it.
See a little bit more about how you're doing it and stuff because eventually I'm gonna cross that path and need some assistance. But congratulations, brother. You
Thank
know,
you.
I'm sure you'll understand what I'm about to say. To me, it's kind of this interesting thing when you go and you understand how things start working or how they start clicking, or Rita would understand how when the dots start coming together and then you start creating something that's a great masterpiece that works out for you, right? So I'm excited for you, Virgil. I'm excited. Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for making it. I appreciate you popping in. So kudos to you, Virgil.
Thank you very much.
Kudos, kudos. Anybody else got any wins they want to share? And hello, Jorge. Hi, Dorea. Hi, Rita. I'm glad you made it.
Hi, I'm
What?
sorry I'm not feeling well, but
Uh-oh.
and I know it took everything in me to get up.
Okay.
Sorry for this call,
That's all
but of
right.
course, sorry, a lot of good things. Getting ready to have our veterans meet and greet. That's what we're calling it. Like I said, at our coffee bunker, we had over 800 people show up
Wow.
last year to the coffee bunker, and I had this wild idea before I knew how many people would had come through the doors, its doors, that we would be, as the culture committee, we would be the ones to welcome people and stuff. So I've been creating an event for them, but I had no idea there was going to be so many. So And the challenge is now I don't know what email uh, blast thing to use. So if anybody can put something in the chat that could recommend, because it's not mine, I would do like a MailChimp or something like that. But these are not really my contacts, so I'm not sure which ones to really use. I did do Eventbrite, but I'm not sure if I can upload their stuff. But anyway, off that. That's not the good news. The good news is, Friday. This is a personal one. Friday, 5:30. I was at a family event, and I was ready to go. So I was like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go, give 'em my love and all that stuff." And they're like, "Hey, a storm is coming," because I'm in Oklahoma. And so they say, "Oh, a storm is coming. You probably need to shelter in place." And so I look it up, and I was like, "Oh shoot, there is a storm coming." But it's effective till 11 o'clock at night. I'm not sheltering in place here at till 11 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, I have to figure this out. I'm gonna have to push through it. So leave. I get on the highway. It's 5 o'clock on Friday, so there's a traffic jam. There's already emergency vehicles on the road, flashing, holding up traffic, and then I hear the tornado sirens, and I was like, "Oh snap!" And I just like, oh Lord Jesus. But I remembered before we leave the house every night, every day, every morning, we always pray that we can leave the house safely and come back safe. So I found out I was on the wrong highway anyway. So I got on the right one and got on the app and found out the tornado was behind me. And so I was in front of it. So I went ahead home. It was like 40 miles to get home. And here's the deal, when I got safely into the driveway and I checked, the tornado touched down at the place where I was at on the
Wow.
same street. Yes. And so it kind of tore up that area where I was literally at. So I'm glad I pushed through and didn't shelter in place. Got home safely.
How far after
Um,
do you know the time? Not to interrupt you, but do you know the time frame?
how long it was down or which
Yeah,
one?
no, like how long did it touch down there after you left?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it was like I said, it was 40 minutes. So it took me
40.
40 miles. So it took me about 20, 30 minutes to get home. So yeah, it was like less than 30 minutes.
Wow.
It touched down on that
Wow.
same street. Yeah. And it tore up the little neighborhood. Didn't decimate it, but a lot of roofs. A whole old tree was uprooted. I mean, it was like the tree from Avatar, you know.
Right,
And it
right.
was uprooted with its roots all up and
Wow.
stuff. Yeah, I'm just thankful to God that I was able to go ahead and and push through and get
Amen.
out of that area. Yeah, so
I'd call that a win.
I think that would be a pretty good win. And it just made all the other yucky stuff with not feeling well a lot better because I would rather feel like this than
Uh,
because there was unfortunately a mother and daughter that were in their car that did not make it.
get it.
When you see their car, you would not be able to recognize that it was a car.
Wow.
So tangled and mangled. So yeah, they're still recovering, but I'm so glad I was able to get out of there
Amen.
and to get to safety. Yeah.
Amen. You know, I'm just gonna do what I do, speak from the heart. It's funny and interesting that you bring this story to us, and thank you, Lord, for keeping Dorea safe and bringing her to us to share this story. And it's
Yes.
sad to hear that anybody passed away from that. But my morning post this morning was, thank you, Lord, for another day of life to see with as you do fit. And all those that agreed said, Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's definitely a win. I don't know if anybody wants to follow that, but anyone else got some wins that they want to share? How do you follow that? That's a pretty big win right there. I evaded death. Rita, do you have some ones you want to share?
Yes. On a lighter note,
On a lighter note.
so Desiree, glad you made it safely. So the prayers do work. It's funny. I was listening to a Substack. I'm just getting used to that. Mel Robbins, and she had a gentleman on there. I've forgotten his name, but he was saying that he was speaking in terms of manifestation. He says first thing you do is you write it down, and you're using all of your senses. And the second thing you do is to visualize it, and you close your eyes and you meditate on it. And you do that daily, along with the belief. And through your prayers that you do whenever you leave the house, I know my mom does it whenever I get on the plane, that, she's always, you don't see her praying, but she does. And I just think she just walks around and she's got stuff she's saying in her head.
Hmm.
um, that's something to be said. So
Amen.
keep keep that going. And girl, I don't know why you are so shocked. And it amazes me when you're like, I didn't know we were to have that many people. I'm like, of course you are, because that's a need. You've got the need. Grab it and keep running.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
thank
got this.
you.
That's awesome.
So that is the expectation. That is not you don't do the minimum. You you expect that to happen simply because of the experiences you've had. So keep moving that forward, girl. You're doing good.
Love it.
Let's see, what did I have? What I was going to share, but then when Dorea started talking, I thought about that manifestation stuff and it kind of flew out of my head. Oh, munchkins!
Yes, yes.
I had some fun. We had a conversation, coach had a conversation this weekend, and he showed me how to use Sora because I would never have figured it out. I probably needed to go to YouTube University, but um, I didn't think about that. I just knew it was so simple, and it was, and I was able to get all of my little cutie pies with a song and not song, a text that went along with. I got all four of them in a picture. I wasn't trying to include me, but I was there like as a plushie. So all the plushie munchkins were together doing their thing and had a little song. It was really
So
cute.
to clarify, you got your plushies into Sora as characters?
Yeah,
Oh, sweet. All right.
yeah.
So now you can just run off videos super fast and easy, huh?
Yes. I
Love
went
it.
to, I did chat GPT like you told me,
Yeah.
and and it gave me lots of stuff that I can use. So then I can just grab it and put it into Sora and adjust as
Love
needed.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
They're alive. They're alive.
I love it. I love it. So Charlotte, welcome. Charlotte's new here. So Rita has been creating a course in the background, just calling it Money Mastery for Munchkins. So we went through a couple of artificial intelligent courses or trainings, if you will. And then we went from not having anything to creating a plushie to now she's got all these different characters that she can use and now taking those characters, put it into Sora so that she can create really quick animated videos for her marketing purposes. So
And
pretty
Very
cool.
cool.
I will say that I'm a part of Coach's TLT, lost transition. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
flexible. It's,
You're coming in and out too for some reason. You sound like you're underwater over there in Florida or what?
oh
Uh,
no, I
DC.
haven't moved. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Better?
yes.
Okay. I don't know why I'm not moving. Okay, so I'm a part of the coaching program that Coach has, and one of the coolest things is, and I've been a part of several coaching programs before, but this is the first one where I can see movement, and the movement is caused by having access. And if you think that not having access to a coach is important, let me tell you, when I can talk to coach or just text him and we could set up an appointment, or sometimes he answers back most times. I mean, in less than 15. I think he has his phone glued to him. But the the response time is really, really quick. And it helps me when I need help and I get to a place and I can text and go, hey, da 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 da. I cannot do that with an Eric Worre. I cannot do that with a Tony Robbins. I like both of them, love one more than the other, but um, coach's value, that's where the value is. And I'm not trying to sell, I'm just saying that the reason why I'm able to do the things that I do is because of the access that I have. So I just wanted to say thank you and give you a shout out for that. Thanks, Coach.
Uh, love and appreciate you, my friend. Always here to help where I can. And most of all, just you're super coachable, so thanks. I mean, I wouldn't imagine it any other way, you being a teacher in the past. So in order for you to be a teacher, you gotta be coachable. So
Well, let me give you a little disclaimer on that one. We
yeah,
are,
I know.
because we know
I
each other
know
already.
already. I already
I'm
knew
like
where
the
the disclaimer
smartest
was going.
one to Ben.
Look, we're used to telling people what to do.
True, true, true. Well, thank you for the flowers, as Virgil calls them. I appreciate it. So, anybody else have any wins that they want to share real quick before we dive
Yes, I
into
would like to
these?
share my win or my wins.
Please do. And thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here.
I like being here. Thank you so much for your welcome.
We like you being here.
All right, so I was just now saying to Rita, I think I'm getting better because this is a win that I'm celebrating because um I I went through a spate of illness that kind of threw me off my feet quite a bit. And I realized that sometimes even when I set my alarm for an event, I I like give myself 5, 10 minutes before the event and I'm moving towards it and I get my computer out and somewhere in between that 10 minutes and the time of the event, I forget. And then 1 hour later I realize that I hadn't.
Uh,
And then I could beat myself because I can't believe. It's like I just can't believe. But see, now it's been like I think it's 3 weeks in a row that I've remembered this. My alarm went off, and even though I was a little late today, because I pinned the link and I kept going at and it was just spinning around. So I just like, okay, let me just reach out to Rita. So to me, that is great sign of progress and great sign of recovery. I feel really very happy. So that's a great
yeah,
win for me.
that's
There's one
awesome.
more thing. Oh,
Yes.
and then I actually have one appointment for today.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
yeah. So I'm celebrating the little wins because
Amen.
I was talking to my therapist and he said, Mikey, you're going to have to establish a new normal, and your new normal might not look like the first one, but I mean, as long as I'm establishing something, it really does make me feel better.
Oh my goodness, you just gave me some big time goosebumps. So there's a lot of truth in what you just said. And may I make a recommendation as well?
Please.
So, and it may sound trivial, but I talk about this a lot. I know you're kind of new to the program. Rita's heard me talk about this, right? Is the value of time that we have, right? So when you understand that time is more valuable than anything because that's the only thing that we have, you have to learn how to control that time. And although we don't have a time machine, so to speak, if you're dealing with any kind of mental things that keep you from doing that, you have to, again, do things differently than what might be the normal. For me, setting an alarm on my phone is normal to me totally. But if I set my alarm 10 minutes out and I'm finding that I'm missing them, that means that I need to change the alarm style. Maybe just set an alarm maybe 10 minutes before, 5 minutes, and then three, and then two, and then one. You understand what I'm saying? Like set your alarms that way if you have to.
Yes.
I can literally show you right here
Yeah,
so that I never miss any appointment. I've already got all of my time set up.
right.
So
I
if I
think what
look
I
at
need to
my
do is,
email for the day, I'll be like, okay, I've got an appointment at 8. I set my alarm for 7:40 as an example, so that I
Hmm.
know that I'm 20 minutes early. Now, just like you're mentioning too, I might, because of the things that I'm doing, I might get off track in my ADD and I'll be busy doing something else.
Hmm.
So I've trained myself also not to be, not, I'm not telling you to watch the clock, but be the type of person that remembers to look at the time. You understand what I mean?
Hmm.
So that you're aware
I'm not
with
an,
the
an
keyword of what time it is and where you are at in the sequence of events. Make sense?
yes, it does.
Yeah. Set as
Or
many alarms as you have to.
I can put an alarm on the hour.
Yeah.
So put some, as opposed to putting it 10 to 12, put one for 10 to 12 then, and also put one for 12.
Girlfriend, you set as many alarms as you need to. Yeah. All right. But
Granted, there has been a time when I was wondering why the thing was alarming. So I
good
really,
stuff though.
there's progress somewhere there. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. I thank you very much for that, though.
That's a win, my friend, and thank you for
Uh,
sharing that with us. Any last little wins before we go into the slides here today?
Sure, I got one.
Awesome. Thank you. Please do.
So it's not a very big win, but I'm actually home
All
sick
wins.
today. So I
Okay.
got out of bed and I'm here.
It is a win.
I had trouble logging in because I couldn't remember where it was. So I had to
Sure.
go back and find your post and be like, where was I going again?
Sure. No, I'm super
So
happy, and we're gonna call that a win for sure because
yeah,
you
because
are
I
here.
don't
So,
usually make it to training during
right,
the day because I'm at work, right? So I was
right.
like, I was like, I don't feel good, but I'm gonna definitely make it. So if you see me looking down, I'm reading the closed caption because
That's okay.
I've got a sinus thing. I can't really hear anything right now, so I'm reading what you guys are saying.
No problems there. First off, thank you for being here. I did see that, and that is a win for me and you and everybody here.
Oh yeah.
And make sure that if you need it, get just subscribe to my YouTube channel. This
Okay.
way, every Monday when you get home or whatever, you can watch the episode. You can see what's going on and
Okay.
stay tuned.
I think I am already.
Okay,
I'm pretty
cool.
sure I am. I'm
Cool.
subscribed to all your things.
Cool.
Uh, so I'm
Good.
pretty
Good.
sure I am, but I'll double check that.
Good. And the reason why it's important is because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I think you kind of missed it, but I've
Yeah.
already established 52 weeks of a curriculum here. So we're already on week 10,
Okay.
which is going to be a significant episode for us today, which is reverse engineering your goals. So this will
Okay.
definitely help. And you're here at just the right time. So thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here.
Perfect. Thank
We
you.
share quick wins, and then I'll jump into the slides that we have had yesterday. Well, not yesterday, but last week. Two different people. Oh, sorry, Rita, you have something else you want to share?
Yeah, I wanted to tell Charlotte that if she once she subscribes and then do your notifications and check all. That way you'll if you check all, they'll notify you when a new video is up in YouTube.
Yeah. Got
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
So,
perfect. Thank you. I forgot about that. That's a good idea.
so last week, two different people. Again, I'm not bragging. I'm not telling you this. These are my wins. Two separate people approached me about two different businesses, technically three different businesses. I didn't approach them. I didn't spam them. I didn't do all that other stuff that we see in the network marketing arena. But so that was a win for me. We'll look forward to following up with them. They've got their links, waiting to see if and when they're ready to pull the trigger. Of course, I don't, you know, I'm not going to beg them to jump in, but we'll see when they join. More work was done on the lost transition, getting closer and closer to getting things done. That may help some of you guys that were dealing with the whole now site not having the ability to mass email. That is a feature that is being integrated into the lost transition right now. You will have to take one step once you are a member if you decide to join and all that. You'll have to go and follow the steps that we're going to give you. Going to give you clear instructions. Go here, go to Google, do this, get this little number, this little digit thingy, and put that little digit thingy here and hit save. And once you do that, then you'll be able to take those emails, compile, take whatever email list you have, upload it, get all your contacts, and then you'll be able to sort them, put them in order, get an email together, and send them out. Same limitations are going to apply because those are Gmail limitations, which is 500 emails per day, but we'll be able to get that solution fixed. So looking forward to that. And then I also started working back on Muster Us, which is the new social network that I've been working on for 2 years. I'm excited for that because it's mostly going to be templated out. So I'm going to try to get that done as quickly as possible because, as most of you guys know, I love to hate Facebook. So those are my wins. We're getting forward and forward every day, moving forward on all of that stuff. That being said, let me go ahead and start the share the slides here. Let's talk about why we're all really here. Sharing is not turned on. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. I think I did something different here.
You made Rita the
Rita.
host.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I did something. Rita, do me a favor and turn me back to host, please. I gave you all the power. She's like, ha 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 ha. And then can I share now? All right, there we go. Thank you, dear. She's like, I have the power.
Well, I didn't do anything because I was
I know.
looking. So, okay.
It's all good, my friend. All right, so let's dive in, okay? Because uh, let me clear the emotional state here and get ready for today. Because Rita, you can back me up on this if you need to. Ooh, and I'm getting just energy surging through my body as I think about how I want to lay this down to you guys today. Today of all days should be a very significant episode for you guys. The reason why I say that and why I get so charged emotionally is because this is where I learned how to actually hit my targets, hit my goals. And this is a lot of where, when you hear me talking about the 5 conversations per hour, where that comes from, like all the little tiny minute details, if you've been around me for a while, this is where a lot of that comes from. When I was doing door to door and I understood what my worth was and I knew that I could make more money doing sales versus going to an hourly job. Again, this is not to bash anybody doing 9 to 5. We all have to start somewhere, right? But if you're like me and you're an entrepreneur and you're just not like me, I'm not qualified to work for anybody but myself and for and with others. But when I learned and understood that I could make more with my skill set and understanding communication and knowing how to convey a message, if you will, right? Everything changed for me. Everything literally changed. Although I was already good at sales, when I started learning the psychology side of things and going from that 50% to 100, a lot of it came from understanding the conversion ratio or my closing percentages and why I tell you the things that I tell you and understanding what those numbers were and the data that I tell you, like numbers don't lie. And when you understand the numbers completely, then and the data makes sense, then you can literally reverse engineer whatever goal it is, whether it's 5K, 10K, 100K, right? So I'll stop babbling, but I want to at least set the precursor here so that you guys understand. This is super important that you guys get it. So if at the end you have any questions, please, 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 my word that I love to hate, make sure you ask them, okay? Because I'm going to show you how working backward from your freedom number that we did last week to like the daily actions that you take, how these numbers will actually be able to help you get to whatever the goals there are. Okay? So let's dive in. From dream to daily action. Last week, as I mentioned, we defined what your freedom numbers were. Okay, anybody care to put them in the chat? Feel more than free to do that. Some of you were like 4 grand. Some, if I'm just remembering, were around six. Uh, I put my number at around 65, 7,000 per month, just on the light side. I can live off of 5 grand, it'll still be comfortable. We're okay with that. So this week, what I want to do is take that number that you guys had from last week and see if we can't help you turn it into an actual game plan, right? So as I mentioned, a lot of people will set their goals by maybe they'll look forward, like I want to make 100 grand this year, but they don't know how to work it backwards. Most people will say, okay, well, I need to make 100 grand. How do I do that? Right? Instead of saying, okay, how can I make 100 grand by reverse engineering to get to that 100 grand? So in this scenario that we're showing, is I need 8,333 dollars per month to make 100 grand. Okay. That means that I would need X amount of sales. To get X sales, I need Y conversations. So I can tell you, math in high school was not my favorite subject. Okay. In fact, I'm lucky I graduated with pre-algebra. But now I love numbers, right? Math to me makes a lot of sense only because of the context of how I see them now. Looking back, oh my God, what is this algebra stuff, right? But anyway, when you understand what that equation is, because there is an actual equation in there, then that like gives you the awareness to actually put forward a plan. Make sense? Because you have to figure out, well, I have to do this amount of presentations every single day to get to this number that I'm looking forward to. So today you're going to learn how to break down the bigger numbers to daily actions that you can actually take. Right? And even though I already know I've given it away, and those of you that have been around know exactly what number you need to be focused on, right? But we're going to break it down. So here's the problem with forward planning versus reverse engineering and what we're talking about, right? Why most people goal setting fails. They're forward planning and saying like, oh, okay, well, I'll hustle and see what happens, or uh, well, my coach told me to just post on social media every day. I had a gentleman that reached out to me yesterday. It was quite cute and funny at the same time. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. And if you're following me, you know the drill. I saw the friend message and said, hey, so and so, I see a friend request here from you. What motivates you to reach out? Oh, well, my coach just said that I should reach out and connect with other network marketers. So what is it that you do? Question mark. To which I aptly responded, "You mean you didn't look at my page? You mean you didn't look? Like you didn't look to see what I did?" Anyway, long story short, funny little story. I'm still waiting for his response. Other than he said, oh no, he did say something like, "Oh, Roger, check." Like, okay, I'll go look. We haven't heard anything since. Anyway, so just posting on social media every day isn't going to get it. I'll network and make connections. Networking is great. Making connections is great as well too. And then the other thought is maybe I'll work hard and it'll work out. Right? Great mindset, but not the best. Excuse me. Now, depending on your product, if you know your product knowledge, all that other fun stuff, then you can do more of a reverse engineering type of thing where you say, I need 6K a month. Well, if it's $600 that you're making for every sale, that's 10 sales, right? Do the math. And that's not even fuzzy math. It's not algebra. That's the simple math that they taught us in junior high. But what is that? What does it break down to? This is where you're going to need to kind of like jot down some numbers while I'm talking, okay? So that's 50 conversations per month. Now you want to break it down even more. That's 12 to 13 conversations per week. And I'm telling you right now, I could show you how to break it down even farther than that. And odds are we'll probably do that, right? But you have to have like clearly daily actions. You know exactly what to do. And this is the biggest problem and why most network marketers fail because they don't have a plan. They don't know exactly what to do. They don't know, hey, number one, where to find prospects. And then once they have the prospects, what to say to those prospects. Can we all agree on that? Yeah. Because those are the two biggest things that are the issue within the industry. We won't go down the rabbit hole and all the other problems, right? We won't do all that. But here's how we talk about reverse engineering stuff, okay? Start with whatever is the end in mind. So what if that number is, let's say, 4 grand? Let's just take 4 grand because that's the number that like 20 plus years ago when I was doing door to door, and we were only making $10 per sale. That was the number we were all looking for. Right? Like we all wanted to make at least $100 a day, and then we were looking to make $1,000 a week. And it wasn't difficult to do. Like as an example for me, well, I knew that every day I could get 10 just by talking to 20 people when I was at a 50% closing ratio. When I was at a 100% closing ratio, I stopped at 10, guys. How dumb am I? Right? Looking back, I'm like, geez, you were doing so good and you stopped at 10. I was just happy to make that goal, right? All right, we made $100 a day. Most of us would go mess around, do whatever, you know? Maybe we'd go to the bar, get some lunch. Because we had the ability to do that. But the key thing that I'm getting at is you got to start with the end in mind. Understand what that number is that you want to hit. So for me, if it was 4 grand a month, I'd have to figure out, okay, well, how does that equate if I'm only selling something that I make $10 per sale for? Now, I want you to really gather and understand what I'm trying to get at you. I'm giving you a number of only $10. So I want you to think about the numbers. I'm not going to give them to you, but I'll help you determine what they are. So if you're selling a product that's only $10 and you want to make $4,000 per month, how many do you have to sell to make that 4,000? I want you to think about it, do the math. Okay? Because on number two, this is where you have to calculate what those unit measurements are. We're talking about how much per sale. And I'm only talking about $10 because realistically, you know, depending on what it is that you're selling, we look at $10 as a decent return, as a short end term, as like a small number that we can work with. And when you know how to work with a small number, you can work with a big number and vice versa, right? Then determine what your conversion rate is. So for you to get that one sale at $10, how many conversations do you have to have? This is where if you lock all this together, you'll understand what I'm saying and why it clicked for me. It was like, okay, if I know that I do this same presentation every single time at every single door, and I close at least 50% of the people I talk to, right? Then that means that I'd have to talk to X amount of customers to get that one sale, right? Make sense? And then you ended up breaking it down even more, like what's the monthly, what's the weekly, and then the daily actions. So, how do we do this? Let's take it, go right into calculator. Can't show you this because I'm on the calculator here. 4,000. I'm going to say divided by $10 because it's $10 per sale. That means we need 400 sales, my friends. Did y'all come up with that same number? Did anybody do the math? All right, just making sure y'all are with me. Or make sure I don't put y'all to sleep or anything. So now let's look at the month. This is the month of March. We're already into it, right? Week 10. Woo, weeks flying by. Can anybody quickly tell me how many days in the month there are? How many days are in the month of March? So I don't have to go.
31.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'm going to divide by 31. That means we need, if you're following along, 12.9 sales per day. Now, there's obviously no way of making 12.9 sales. So round it up to 13. Now, you got to think about a few other factors, obviously. Are you working every day? Odds are probably not, right? So we might have even been able to change the numbers at the very beginning and take off, let's say 10 days and made it only 21 because you're going to take Friday and Saturday off or whatever. You could calculate and do your own numbers. But if we were to work every single day, that means we would need 13 sales per day. So now let's say we take 13 sales, right? Because that's what we need per day. But we only work, let's say 8 hours. So we're going to divide 13 by 8. That means that I need 1.625 sales per hour that I work. Y'all with me, right? And I know I already gave it away, especially for those of you that have been following me or are in my coaching group. How do you think I can hit that number?
I would think you need a bundle and do
Uh,
some bundling
well, when you say a bundle, what do you mean?
instead of focusing on one unit. Figure out how to combine a couple units so you're only selling one thing, a couple of things to one person to get more sales in that short period of time.
I love what you're talking about. This is the way advanced people think, right? I'm talking about just breaking it down to that amount of sales and the amount of people that I have to talk to on a general, right? So if I want to make 1.625 sales per hour, the only goal is what I teach is 5 conversations with qualified prospects per hour. If I want to do what Drea just mentioned, now I need to do a bigger outreach and I need to creatively do Zoom classes like this to where I talk to more than 5 people per hour. Now that duplicates my success and I can get this 1.625 pretty easy. Y'all with me so far? Charlotte, you keeping up with what I'm saying? Everybody get the numbers and understand? Yes, yes. Because when you get this, it should be a light bulb moment for you. They're like, ah, okay. So even if you're, maybe your number isn't 4,000, maybe your number isn't 10, go off of whatever it is that you're selling on a daily basis and figure out what those numbers are, right? Maybe your product is $20. If it's 20, then that means you have to have less conversations to be able to hit that 400, right? This is why I wanted to teach you this way at $10 versus higher going lower, right? Because if you know how to do this with a little product or a little project of $10, because, some people, Rita and I have this conversation constantly about the amount of energy that it takes, whether it's a small ticket product or a large ticket product. A lot of that, I believe, comes from, what internally you feel, right? So for somebody that might be new and starting to build what their education is or build their what's the word I'm looking for? Their oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank for some reason.
But the pipeline,
No,
or
just like to be able to present themselves in such a way. Anyway, I lost it. My point is that the numbers never lie, right? So if you reverse engineer whatever your numbers are, and you can always still break it down to 5 conversations with qualified prospects per hour. Because if you do those 5, odds are you're going to get 2 out of those 5, right? But your presentation needs to be the same. Now, if you want to go about what you were talking about, DeRay, and you want to scale or do it on a mass level and you want to be able to get your numbers a lot quicker without having to have individual conversations, that's where you would set up a Zoom like what we're doing here and invite and have 100 people in there every day that you're doing it, as an example, right? Maybe you would set up an ad, or maybe you would set up a team system that everybody invites everybody. Okay, this time of day, we're going to invite, and those of you that invite and you join, want you to also invite. Like I'm telling you, I've seen and we've done this before, and this is how you can duplicate your success within a team role if you're doing a team build. But you have to have somebody at the top that's going to be that leader, even if it's just the company doing it, right? You have to get your team involved and say, okay, this is how we do this. Every day we have this presentation. All you're going to do is you're going to invite 2 to 3 people to that presentation, or you're going to be the one that's doing the presentation and everybody's inviting so that they can listen to you, right? So if you're brand new, I don't necessarily recommend you being the one that's standing up at the podium until you feel confidence. That's the word I was trying to figure out, right? Confidence. But if you need to help build some confidence, what I was getting at is start off with a $10 product. If you know you can sell a $10 product, well, guess what? You can sell a $100 product. You can sell a $100 product. You can sell a $500 product. You can sell a $500 product. Guess what? You can sell a $1,000 product, right? But if you're trying to hit the numbers of what we're talking about, your freedom numbers specifically, you have to know what those numbers are. Now, I want you to also take into account that maybe you might be doing multiple things, right? Because many of us are involved in multiple opportunities. So that's where I would say and recommend you're not always necessarily going to be able to focus on one particular item in 1 hour. Like your conversation might change, but the focus itself should be on creating and building that relationship, finding out whether or not that person has a need or an interest in what it is that you have, right? And if you start taking note, you start putting these people down in lists, or you put them in your CRM, you put them in the look, try, or buy, once all that starts grooving, you'll be able to see those visual pictures and start moving people around the way that they need to be moved around. Ultimately, though, the main thing that we want to try to teach you all, right, is to create your systems that work for you. But reverse engineering whatever your goal is very important, especially if you're just starting out. You need to know how you're going to be able to get to whatever that freedom number is so that you can end up surpassing whatever you're making in, the other job or Social Security or whatever else it is. And understand, like when I say this, it's completely with love and from the heart. I've heard tons of people that have come to me and said, "Well, I'm on Social Security. I've got to be careful what I make." I'm like, if you're making more than Social Security, who cares about Social Security, right? Like, if that's just extra for you, then it just to me, I know, again, speaking from my heart, not being any kind of conspiracy theorist or anything, because we're called truthers now. But the world as we know it is changing right in front of your eyes. So I hope that I trust that y'all are paying attention, right? So a lot of people are worried about artificial intelligence taking jobs, and I'm telling you right now, if you're worried about that, then you need a really good skill set. A good skill set is always going to be communication and learning how to communicate and ultimately learning how to sell, right? And you're going to see a lot of people, a lot of things over the course of these next coming years, just like Gary Vee, the psychic that he is, predicted it. And you're going to see a lot more social selling. That means people selling on their social media profiles. But there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it, right? If it's on your general page, then you don't want to just be like, hey, here's my shit, go buy it, right? So anyway, Don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Let's go back to the real math because we're running out of time here. And I kind of screwed up on the numbers because I was just throwing them out there. So real quick recap, and this will help out. Let's say it's 6 grand a month instead of four. Same difference, right? Average sale though that you're working with is 600. Oops. Right? If you want to hit that goal, then that's only 10 sales a month. This is where the numbers matter. So 10 sales a month, if you remember, is a lot easier than 400, right? Maybe your conversion rate is 20%. Earlier, you heard me talk about 50. So that means 1 in 5 conversions. But then if you're dealing with 1 in 5 off of 10 sales, off of even a 21-day work month, you're not going to need 1.625 sales per hour. You understand? You're only going to need that one. So if you do 5 conversations, there's the one that you're magically looking for. Before I move on, did everybody understand what I'm saying? Please, please, please. If you don't understand, please say something now. Everybody's good? Because when I understood this, this is when you hear me say, when you get this, you can literally write your own freaking paycheck. This is what I'm talking about. Knowing exactly how many people that you have to talk to get whatever that paycheck portion of that paycheck amount is, shall we say. Okay? So if you want to break that down to a conversion rate of 20%, that means you have to have at least 50 conversations in that month. That breaks down to 12 or 13 per week that we were talking about. Daily action. This says 3 conversations a day. I didn't get the chance to change it to at least 5. Should say 5. Okay? So even if you're not doing 5 per hour because you got into a conversation, maybe that conversation went a little bit longer and now you're networking and 5 conversations took you 3 or 4 hours. That's okay. Even if it's 5 per day instead of 5 per hour over 2 or 3 hours, at least you did something, right? So 5 per day, even those 5 per day can still compound. If you're doing it 5 per week, well, now you're talking about 25, right? So here's where that power of 5 conversations per hour comes in. If you're doing it 5 conversations per hour and you only do it 1 hour, or you just do that 5 per day, that's at least 5 conversations per day. Raise your hand. Do you think you can have at least just 5 conversations per day? Can you? Everybody should have both hands up, right? It's achievable, is what I'm saying. The 5 conversations per hour takes a little bit of work. Like you've got to understand all the things that I teach and how to do it. I'll get in and out of conversations very quickly, and determine whether or not we should be wasting time or not wasting time, right? But this is actually achievable for anybody. Doesn't matter who you are. You can have 5 real conversations today. That's doable. It's not overwhelming, right? I'm sure we all believe we could do that. It's also measurable, right? And then you just ask yourself every day, did I do 5 conversations per hour per day? However you want to relate it to yourself, whatever's going to make it simple for you. Yes or no? Simple. No excuses, no gray areas. You know me, we don't bullshit around here, right? It's a military mindset. You either did or you didn't. You can't sit there and try to fool yourself and wonder why you're not earning. Hi, Vicky. Did you have a question, dear? Glad you made it, by the way.
Charlotte,
I was raising my hand because of what you said about raising your hand if you understand this
Oh,
part of the conversation.
good.
And sorry for interrupting, Rita.
No, no, not
But
an
I would
interruption.
like the slides and the replay so I can watch this. I'm sorry my appointment took way longer than I thought.
Nothing to be sorry about, dear. You know that. I'm glad you made it safely. Right. The main thing is that third little section there, it's going to compound, right? Let's say it's 5 per day over 5 days. That's 25 a week. 25 a week times 4 weeks, that's 100 per month. That's more than you need, right? And then if you're really good at the presentation, you get even better. Then you go from that 20% to 30 to maybe 50 to 60, 70, 80. I don't know what you're going to get up to. At one point in time, I'd close 100% of the people that I talk to. In most cases, I close at about 90 to 95%, right? And if I don't, I know why. I know exactly what I did wrong. I know exactly, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, or oh, I said this too soon, or I didn't listen. Like all the things that I teach, like I know exactly where I screwed up if I ever get a no. I know it, right? That's why it's easy for me to see. Rita was talking about, we were talking the other day. She said it was nice to be able to see you actually do that in person because those of you that aren't part of the inner circle, she's seen me actually go in there and have conversations with people and know exactly what they're going to say, exactly what they're going to say. But anyway, it's easy to do. But getting back to this, because we're over, so bear with me one moment before we close out. Know your numbers, right? The four numbers every entrepreneur must track. Here it is. What is your average sale? Right? How much is it? And then what is your conversion rate? That goes back to how many conversations, even on a basis of 10, if I talk to 10 people, how many people will say yes? And again, I'm not recommend that you do this at the very beginning. You go try to be the closer. We always recommend that you start off and utilize the tools that are to your advantage within your company and become a professional inviter. Invite people to the party. Let the professionals do the work. Let them do the conversions. And once you understand the program, how it works, you have more confidence, and you're able to put on a presentation and explain it to everybody, then you start tracking your conversion rate. It's very important for you to know these numbers. Again, when I started, I realized I was closing 50% when I first started. By the time I was done, it was 100%. También en español, right? That's a high number. And then conversations per day. How many real conversations are you having? That's what matters, guys. You sit there, you could post one, two, five, 10 times a day. It's all fodder. It's all fodder. And then what's the closing rate? Closing and conversion, they're pretty much the same thing. But you should track and see whatever progress you have because when you see yourself start doing better and better with your closing or your conversion rates and your closing rate, that helps you exude with confidence. I didn't get the confidence that I have now from getting a bunch of uh, no's, right? I got it from the yeses that I got. I got it from the yeses that I got after people told me no. So adjust the formula. There's three ways to hit your numbers. Increase your average sale. We talked a little bit about this from the difference of $10 to a $600, right? If you're selling a $100 product, sell $200 products. Boom. It's going to double your revenue. Just like that, guys. You see how easy this can be. Right? But without more work. Same amount. You're just closing. Rita, does this tie in even better with what we were talking about?
Yep, it makes sense. Yes, most definitely. The other part is that the conversations, like because you said everybody, not everybody, but people are going to buy and not buy. So maybe in those the first 3 hours that you're doing the five, you may not get a lead, but maybe it's the fourth group that you talk to or the fifth group. So and maybe there's two in one group that you do talk to. You just never know until you do the work. It's not like I'm going to talk to five an hour and then somebody will jump out and say there. No, that's not how it works. It's the collective use of the numbers that will do that. And priming, that was something I didn't understand, priming the pump is that I was always like, what is that, what is that? I don't know what that means. I don't get. But what that is you just talk to a whole bunch of people and you throw them into the system that you're talking about, And those, you don't care about them. I mean, you do, but you don't. You're just going through the activity. I'm running a sprint, like, what is it? I don't know. Half the basketball court, and you run to the line and you come back. You don't care about the number of times that you're doing that. You care about the outcome. I'm looking to get faster. And that's the same thing that I see with the pipeline. You don't care. You're just presenting information, inviting, presenting, developing relationship. Because depending on where you are in the process, the people that you talk to, you may not know anything. You may not know them well enough to do that. So it's all in the just doing the numbers, like you say. And then also, once you invite them, even if they don't respond, one thing that I like that you teach is that just stay in touch. How's your day? Like maybe it's you spoke to them last week, maybe 2 weeks. Hey, how's your day going? But just it's not like, oh, what did you think about the presentation? Look, if they want that, you're triggering them. So if they want it, they'll, oh, hey, who was that? Let me go back and see what we were talking about. They'll come back to you if they're interested, because everybody is not your client.
Amen.
Nor does, even if you have a product. I bought products before, and like I bought it for my husband, he never did use them, so I'm not going to be a return client, because I do that too. I buy, no, I don't like it that much, and it's not working. So all of those things are factors, but the conversations, the numbers, you got to find what that number is for you.
Amen. Amen. That being said, there's a word that came up into my head, and the way that it was explained to me by one of my mentors, excuse me, is a word called compression, right? So the way that was explained to me is having that compression, just like as in a vehicle or anything like that. You had to have the conversations, point people towards that presentation to create that compression, that eventually compression happens. And once the compression happens, then it's like boom, 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 boom. Now you start having people that will end up signing up to your business like popcorn, right? It may be one or two a day or one or two a week. It really depends on how much compression that you're building up throughout those conversations, right? So first thing, like we mentioned, is increase the average sale. Second is improve your conversion rate. That's where we go from what we mentioned about you being the professional inviter to you then starting to understand and know enough about your product to start doing it yourself, right? And then taking a look at what that conversion rate is and saying, wow, well, I kind of sucked, right? Don't be afraid to say I suck, because it's gonna happen. You're not gonna be that great at the very beginning. I mean, I was tickled that I was doing 50% when I started door to door, but that was only because I had prior experience talking to people. That was it. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been closing at 50% door to door. I really don't. But it was that number and understanding that that was my closing and a conversion rate at the very beginning to see then I was doing better. But it wasn't, if I had not tracked those numbers, guys, this is what you really got to understand. Write the write them down. Don't just pretend in your head. Like write them down so you can physically see it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You understand? Like you can't unsee it. And when I saw those numbers, I was like, oh, woo, we had a 70% closing ratio today, 10 customers, we only spoke to seven, Or we, like in certain cases, like Dorea was mentioning, and maybe there was two in one house. Sometimes I'd be there and we'd take care of their neighbor, their daughter, their son, right? You never know unless you're going out to have those 5 conversations per hour. Anyway, number three, super simple. Have more conversations. I think I mentioned this before. Every time that I would stress out in my door-to-door career, I'd be like, "Ah, Shane, I need more money. This bill is coming up. This bill is coming up." He'd say, "Go knock some doors. Go have some conversations." And little by little, we would solve things. So anyway, Handing out the show, goals without daily actions are just wishes. They are, right? Reverse engineer your number. Know what to do. Exactly what you need to do. And most of you that have been around me for a while, you already know what to do. Right? You already know. Telling you it works. Where's Jackie at? Have you heard from her? No? She'll tell you it works. Right? So reverse engineering your goal. This week, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna calculate your numbers. You're going to take your last week's number. You're going to find out what is your average sale volume. What's your conversion rate? I want you to write them all down. If you don't know, just assume 20% and track from now. Even though it's probably less than 20%. I'm not going to lie. All right? Probably less. Might even be 10, 15, maybe. But set your daily target. How many conversations do you need per day? That means if you're doing that 20, you want to get two, like maybe it's going to be 10 conversations. Maybe it's 7 or 8, right? The key is just to focus on 5 per day because that will help you stay focused enough to get through those conversations. Set your daily target limit. And then number 3, I want you to track it for 7 days. Okay. And then did you hit your number? Yes or no? Just be honest with yourself. You don't have to answer to me or anybody else that's in this group. This is all for you. Right? At the end of the week, you'll know if your plan works or if you need to adjust it. But there's the numbers you'll actually see and then say, oh, okay. Wasn't able to do this because of this. Eliminate that. Let's put this in and then just make your adjustments, right? Fine tune everything as you're dialing it all in. So, takeaways. This is the time where I'd love to hear your takeaways. What's the biggest takeaway from today? If you'd like to share, what are you going to do differently this week that maybe you weren't doing before? Love to hear from one or two of you if anybody would like to share.
Well, for me, it's really about, well, the way I'm understanding all that and making sense of it is really understanding that law of momentum or the dynamic of momentum. Because if you don't have a destination, whatever you do, you're not necessarily on that journey. And waking up in the morning and having a set target that makes sense is the first goal. It's a little bit like applying it to the example of a car, right? You get in the car, well, the gauges are telling you already all the numbers that you'll be facing from 0 to 180 if you're driving that fast or that slow, and also the gauge, the revolution of the engine, but it's not telling you where you're going, right? And only when you have set that destination can you manage your speed. Even this idea of scaling your product, well, regardless of the fact that you're scaling your product, that law of momentum will still apply. You will have to come back and count your conversations. And the idea of counting your conversation is not just counting how many times I didn't close or how many times I closed. It's understanding the pattern of your targeting, right? Because remember, if you're having 100 conversations with the wrong people every day, well, it's always going to amount to the same thing. However, as you go through that process, you start understanding, well, every time I say this, I get that sale, and I'm saying it to that type of person, right? For example, in the exchange, Charlotte asked or suggested that her issue is finding leads. I asked, well, what is the target audience? And most people will give you the niche, the broader scope, right? But when you're targeting, you have that set profile, just like when you're about looking at running numbers, making a goal, you have that set target number. And that is what drives your momentum, right? Because in the end, we start at, okay, 5 conversation an hour, but when momentum gets easy, we don't stop at that. We push past that number. That's when it becomes a reflex, right? Oh, it just happens like that, pick up the phone and, or see this profile, this is exactly the persona, no doubt. I'm going to send this number or this conversation because there are some targeted points or benefits that I'm highlighting in the interest, right? And I know that when I present that conversation in this pattern, why? Because I tested it through the momentum that I've set for myself. I know what I'm going to achieve. After that, you fall into that apple, orange, and coconut conversation, right? Same thing when you scale your product. Well, it's the same mechanic, maybe a little bit complex because the packaging of the offer has moving pieces, and the person will have to ask you more questions, but the dynamics remain the same. Even more so when you scale the weight of your product, you have to understand that, well, you're moving away from the simple dynamics of the conversation to a more elaborate exchange, explaining all the moving part of your offer. And naturally, you gauge your momentum, right? So this is really helping everybody set the framework to follow that momentum.
Love it.
Right? That's how I saw it.
I love
Very,
it. That
very insightful.
I love it. That's a huge takeaway, brother. And you know, and I love the analogy there, and it got me to thinking. And then once you get even better and you learn how to drive that car, you'll learn to listen to what the car is telling you, and you learn when to shift the gears and when to
Mm.
spin to the right when it's going to the left. You know what I mean? You'll be able to handle
Full
all the dynamics
integration.
of whatever that is, right? So that's a beautiful takeaway. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So I
Pleasure.
want you guys to remember as we end the show, you don't need to work harder. Please, for the love of God. Okay? Work smarter. I've been saying it for decades. I'm not man, I hate to say that I'm lazy. I'm not lazy, but I just like to work smarter versus harder, right? So reverse engineering turns whatever your big scary goals are into small doable actions. As long as you move forward those actions, you're gonna, know your numbers as well. You're gonna hit those daily targets. Let the math do the rest. Okay, I'm telling you, numbers don't lie. There's mathematics all around us. I'm not going to get into the esoteric thing, Fibonacci sequels, and all that other fun stuff. If you know, you know. Math is everywhere, my friends. So utilize it to the best of your ability. Next week, week 11, it's going to be the 90-day sprint. It's important. You probably want to be here. Because we're going to talk about how to accomplish in 90 days what most people don't even do in a whole year. Okay? So, trust you guys got some value out of it. Thanks for popping in, Charlotte. Awesome to see you here the first time. Everyone else, of course, I love and appreciate you all for being here. You are what makes this show so much fun. I trust you guys got some value. Go out there, kick ass, take names. We'll see you next Monday and how to Tuesday and Wednesday
Tomorrow.
or Wednesday. Toot toot. Love y'all. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.